the secrets of the major arcana. Here at the pomegranate major arcana.
Here we are. Oh my God, I love the Fool, Sharon. I think this is one of my favorite tarot cards.
I have to agree with you. He blows my mind. He makes me think so hard.
Oh, I love that.
I thought you
Wow.
would like that.
I always enjoy your kind of presentations. I never know what to expect. All your presentations could be a tarot deck within themselves, couldn't they?
That would be fun. Yeah.
They
I have to
literally
do them.
could.
Have to
Yeah.
do them for the I didn't start doing them until the cup, so I have to do them for the previous ones for thumbnails, but
Right.
it's fun to look them up and do them. And I got the idea from a lady named Robin Deere.
Very nice. But the Fool, I mean, yeah. Tell us about him traditionally.
There are two schools of thought on him. Some see it straight up as a fool. You know, he's walking off a cliff. He's not thinking about what he's doing. And some see him as on an adventure with naivety and optimism. I am of that school of thought. I see him. This is really strange, and this has developed over time because I don't really remember how I was taught him, but I see him kind of like Schrodinger's cat as a theory that if you put a cat in the box with a vial of poison, you don't know if the cat is dead or alive until you open the box. And while the box is closed, the cat is both. And that's a very simplified version. And I never understood that. Until one day I was studying the Fool. And to me, it's like, that next step, he's full of potential. We don't know whether he's going to fall off the cliff or magically walk across the air. And until he takes that next step, the potential for both is there. If that makes any sense to anyone but me.
Wow. I wasn't sure where that whole story was going, but yeah. That next step, it really is like that step, one step. I mean, they said it when they landed on the moon, you know, apart from those of us that don't believe in the moon landing, but you know, one step for man, one giant leap for mankind, or whatever it is. One step is all it takes, isn't it, to kind of, you know, for your destiny to go one way or another. It's like, yeah, if you did take that step, it could be the best thing ever. If you did take that step, it could be the worst thing ever. And equally, you could say, if you don't take the step, it could be the best thing ever. Or if you don't take the step, it could be the worst thing ever.
Exactly. It's the potential. It's zero. It's all and nothing. We don't know until we decide. You know?
Very thought-provoking. Wow, extremely thought-provoking. This is on a sort of deeply philosophical level, yeah. But sometimes you just have to just put a bit of faith in something and take the step.
Thank you. That's how I traditionally learned it. It's a leap of faith.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I do see this, when I see this card come up, especially upright, although I quite like it either way, I see the wings. I don't think it's an accident that he's got sleeves like that.
Yeah.
And I happen to have that dress. Did you know this?
You should have worn that.
I should have worn it. And I've had this dress for a long time. You know when you've got a really favourite dress and it's like, I don't care how long I've had it, this dress is ageless, timeless, and I'm never going to throw it away. And I always like wearing it. And it's exactly that. It comes to above my knees. It's all florally and colourful, and it's got sleeves like that. And I just, one day I thought, bloody hell, I have got the full dress. I own it. And I've owned it for years, and I love it. Right, I'll show you a photo of me in it, right? But I just think there's no accident that his sleeves are like wings. And that's what I see. I just think, go on, you'll be all right if you take that step. You will fly, right?
Yes.
That's just my take on it. I just feel very positive about it. You know, it's amazing. But I do think to have that attitude of you just don't even think about the consequences. It's not that you're not worried about the consequences. It's just you're just choosing to be absolutely oblivious about the consequences. And sometimes in life, if you think about the consequences, you won't do it. It's like when I went to drama school, I was working in a travel agent. This is the absolute truth. I had a job that I'd had for quite a few years in a travel agent. It was I was, you know, in quite a responsible position. It was quite an enjoyable job. I was getting lots of travel, blah, blah, blah. But I decided that I wanted to go to drama school, right, and become an actress because I was doing that amateur stuff. Now, when I went and I got into drama school, it took like a year. I had to go for auditions and bloody, bloody, bloody. I had to give up being a travel agent. When I went to drama school, within 6 months of being at the drama school, my boyfriend, who I'd been with for 6 years, who I had a flat with that we'd bought, we owned a flat together, he dumped me, right? He dumped me, kicked me out of the flat. And it sounds sort of awful, but suddenly I had no boyfriend, no home, right? And I just thought, if I had known this, I would probably not have made the decision to go to drama school. I would have thought that the sacrifices are too high. I only want to be an actress. I'm not saying I want to lose my boyfriend and my home, but I would like to be an actress instead of being a travel agent, right? And I was the fool. I just went for it. But I would have missed out on the whole lifetime that I've had, right? Does that make sense?
Yes,
I would
it
never have
does.
had my children because I met my husband, even though I'm not with you now, at drama school. You know, my whole life my entire life went in a completely different direction. And I would never know, because you can't live two parallel lives and be conscious of them both. If we do have parallel lives, we're not aware of them, I don't think, right? Well, I'm not, you know, but I just feel like I didn't think about all of the possible consequences, and I'm really glad I didn't.
I get that. Yeah. And that's that whole possibilities. You know, he may never know what would have happened if he did or didn't take that step one way or another.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's a little bit head banging when I think about it too hard. But I
He's
think
got
he
his
made the right
wings.
decision. Yeah,
He's
he's
got his
got his
wings.
wings.
He's got his little bag. He's got as much preparation as he needs because he's got his little bag. He's got that white flower of peace, and for some reason I feel I don't know where I'm getting that from. I just feel that's a sort of a form of protection somehow. You know, he comes in peace, so no one's out to. There doesn't feel as though there's anybody out to attack him apart from his little dog that's trying to warn him not to do it. Probably that's what the little dog is saying. You know, or the little dog might be encouraging him to do it.
Encouraging. Yeah, to me, the little dog looks like it's smiling, but it could be warning him. That could be all those people telling you don't do it. It's not worth it. And you're like, no, I'm ready.
Yeah, and I'm not the inventor of the next thing I'm about to say. I know that. But it's a little bit like when you're doing a tarot reading and you don't quite trust your intuition, and like say something comes in your head, like I gave the example in the introduction about the washing machine, right? You know, But say that little dog is saying, you can't say that in a tarot reading. You can't say that. You can't say that. And it's like getting the Fool card. It's like, no, just say it. Just say it. And I did say it. Nothing stopped me from saying it. And I was right about the washing machine.
Oh,
You know?
every time we do that, where we like, because our brains do say, what the hell? Every time we spit it out, this is what I see. I'm seeing a washing machine. Isn't that a leap of faith?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And also there's something about this card. What have you actually really got to lose? I mean, okay, he could actually just fall to his death. So I suppose that there is quite a lot to lose. But we don't know that, because actually below that ledge there might be another bit of cliff that's like 2 feet down. We just don't see it in the card. We
So
assume
true. So true. Have you ever seen the video for Pink Floyd Learning to Fly? It's a music
No.
video. And it Pink Floyd, I love Pink Floyd. They have this beautiful song called Learning to Fly. And every time I watch this video, I'm like, that's the Fool. It's this young Native American, and he dreams of flying. And that's all I'm going to say. When you watch this video at the end, it is so flipping amazing. And it is such a, to me, that video just embodies the Fool, just embodies it. It's called Learning to Fly.
I'll have to watch that. Yeah, I will watch that. No, I think I love him, and I think it is all about take a risk. Life is short. Go for it. That to me is saying go for it. And I hate the fact that he's called the Fool.
Well,
I think he's the adventurer.
One thing, you know, I was raised Christian, and I've got a card to show this. One of the cards I brought kind of shows this, but I had always been told God loves children and fools, and not fools as in, you know, people who make foolish decisions, but that innocence, that naivety, that beauty,
Right.
that welcoming open arms of everything. God loves children and fools. So I don't see him as foolish. I see him as really open-hearted.
Yeah.
And
Free-spirited.
innocent. Yeah.
Free-spirited, and I think his future belongs to him. I think he
Yes.
owns his future. I really think this is a marvelous card. Now, the other thing about him is he on the start of a journey, or has he actually reached spiritual enlightenment and he's at the end of the journey and he's the one that's cracked it? You know, where is it?
I think
he
he's
the beginning
both.
or the end?
I think
Both.
he is both.
And I think that's why he's the number 0, because that circle, that cycle, you know?
Yes. Oh, man. In the interview that I did with Lon Milo Duquette, he explained something to me about justice and the Fool. And all I'm going to say, because that was an epic video or interview, he said that the Fool is outside of the tarot. He is the number 0. So he is outside of it all. But it was really cool. And in the tarot-chi, in the tarot game, before tarot even became a divination tool, the Fool was kind of like the get out of jail free card. There were no rules to him. He was the escape artist.
Okay.
So he is outside the tarot, but in the same way all through it. So yeah, he's beyond the rules.
I got this deck. I'm not going to sort of bother to show this card, but I found this deck that in my box, and it's called the Book of Fools. This particular deck, and it's based the artwork is based on some German artwork. I've just flicked through it, but the Fool card in that deck is called the Vagabond.
Kind of like somebody who just goes wherever he wants, whenever he wants to.
Yeah, who has no, it just feels very unburdened. I swear that there are some people who are, on the one hand, you could call them homeless people or whatever, but on the other hand, it's like I don't have any responsibilities. I don't have anyone breathing down my neck, right? I just feel, to a certain extent, you feel kind of sorry for them. But I think they've probably, a lot of them have got it quite sorted in a way. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I'm sure that there are some people like hobos or vagabonds that relish in being the hobo or the vagabond. Think of the utter freedom that could go with that if you have a system of being able to take care of yourself.
Yeah. I mean, life is full of burdens and responsibilities. I'm not trying to drag it down. That somebody in that position would have certain advantages that they don't have to worry about all of that.
All right.
They've created a world where none of that applies to them.
That could very well be part of him.
What do you think of him in reverse?
Wow. Reversal. Several different ways. Now is not the time to take that step. Get some
Yeah.
more information about it.
Yeah.
You're not looking at the situation at all.
Yeah.
In reverse, I can see him as the word the fool, like, wow, you're really not doing this in a
Yeah.
proper way, or you're not paying attention type of thing. A lot of times just wait. It's not the right time.
I have seen it as, I think this is a good thing, like that, this opportunity, this adventure. However, don't take any stupid risks. Work out kind of like, just be careful not to do anything that is going to weigh up the kind of the risk factor before you kind of jump into it. But I still think it's got the essence of that kind of life is for the living about it. Just kind of tread with a bit of caution.
Yeah. And every now and then I've seen him as bring it back down to earth. You've seen me do this where I'm walking around with my head in the clouds and daydreaming, and somebody has to pull me back to the real
and then
world.
You walk into a
flagpole and break my nose.
Yeah.
I wasn't quite broken, but man, it was.
Also, no, I'm not necessarily saying this is reverse, but like the card might not even be anything to do with him. It could be about the handbag, like get a shoulder bag. It could be about the dog. It's go for a dog walk.
Yeah.
Get out with your dog.
Take your dog to obedience classes.
Your dog. Yeah, what's that?
Take your dog to obedience classes.
Yes. Yes. Tell your dog to stop yapping. I wonder who's got a yappy dog. but yeah, I mean, it's not even necessarily about all the things that, you associate with him. I think he's great. Did you bring any other fools along?
I did. It was very, very difficult for me to narrow it down, so I have to. I'm sorry. So I am going to start. Remember where I said I brought one that shows that way I was raised with God loves children and fools. And I think that this is like the God figure looking down on the man that is in his image. I love it. I love that.
Yeah.
And there's a big hole where he's about to step, but God is watching over him. Or I see
that's
him
a grateful card.
Yeah, I like that. That's Chiro Machete. And that one is from the Grand Lux, Tarot Grand Lux.
That's gorgeous. That's gorgeous. And the colors are just gorgeous.
Yeah, I brought several from this deck just because, but I love that fool because I see him as being made in his image and him watching over us.
Yeah, that's a great interpretation of it. No, it's fantastic, Sharon.
So you want to do one of yours?
Yeah. Hit me with it. I don't know what one it's going to be.
I'm bringing this one up because, wow.
So this was a present, right, called the Movie Tarot. Now, this deck, it's only the majors and the court cards, that have the pictures on them. However, it's a tricky deck because unless you've seen the movies and you know the characters, it's kind of pointless, the deck, to be quite honest, because there's not a great deal of information in the pictures. This happens to be one that I know, right?
Forrest Gump.
It's Forrest Gump. Well, I just think perfect.
Yeah.
For the Fool, you know, it's just perfect. And I just actually think it must have been really fun choosing the characters for this deck, for, you know. However, there's quite a lot of them, and I thought, I've not heard of the film, never mind the characters. So you either have or you haven't. So the deck is not going to be of any value to you unless you knew all those films and the, you know, what happens to those characters.
This one actually made me think of another meaning that could apply to the Fool too, that just never really occurred to me before. But you know how, like in the movie, he does this phenomenal run because he believes he can. There's
Yes.
nobody who tells him he can't. And
Yes.
imagine the things that you and I have done that other people would be like, how have you done that? It's because we believed we could, and nobody could tell us we couldn't.
Marvelous.
Pillsbury rolls, and yes, this does have a relevance to it. Do you ever get Pillsbury crescent rolls where they're in that tube and you're supposed to press the spoon and it's supposed to pop open?
I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, in America we
Sorry.
have these little tubes that have rolls in them, and you pop them in the oven, and you're supposed to be able to pull the paper off, and the tube will go pop and open.
Oh,
And I
okay.
was at my mother-in-law's house, and I opened my tube, and she was standing there talking to me, and I took the paper off, and it went pop and opened. And she said, "How did you do that?" I said, "It's supposed to do that." She said, "No, it never does that. Nobody I know can do that. It doesn't do that, Sharon. And do you know, to this day, I still can't make it do it. I have to like hit it with a spoon because somebody told me I couldn't do it."
Yeah. It's really weird though, because sometimes when someone's told they can't do it, that is their motivation to prove whoever told them they can't do it, you know, prove them wrong.
That was
Because
me going in.
isn't that the story of Barbara Streisand or something? Didn't her mother say you're not pretty enough or whatever to be an actress or something like that? Whatever it was, and my God, you know?
She owned the world. And I know when I went into the Marine Corps, every single person I knew said, "You can't be a Marine. You're too soft. You're too nice," except my sister. And my sister said she put up with me beating her ass every day for years. She can make it. But I joined the Marine Corps just to prove them all wrong. Yeah.
But on the other hand, you will get some characters who actually don't give things a try because someone has said you can't do this, you know.
Absolutely.
So it can go like either way. But I think Forrest Gump is a brilliant choice for the Fool.
I think yes, he is.
And probably all of their choices are brilliant choices. It's just I've personally not heard of a lot of them. And if one day or 1 week or 1 year I sit down and watch all the films, I might find it's the best tarot deck I've got on my shelf. But I don't believe that I could read with it until I had an understanding of those films and those characters. That is the truth. So
him, every single thing he did because he believed he could. Really panned out. There's nothing he couldn't do.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I love that. I've got another one.
Oh, yes.
Everyday Enchanted.
Ah.
I love everything going on in that card, and it's got a cat instead of a dog, and I do believe that Marseille had a cat. It was a cat till 1910. And look at all the things, all the construction, I mean, that he could have damaged himself with, and he's just going along. For those cartoons where you watch, I think they're Looney Tunes, where they're walking in a construction site, not paying attention. They step off of one thing and another swings in and catches them. That's what this makes me think of.
But I've got to say, this card to me is the complete and utter opposite of the Hierophant. You know, all those rules and regulations and all that kind of bureaucracy and all that red tape. I hate it. And the Fool is really kind of like, in a very unaggressive way, just, I don't worry about any of that, right? You know, it's like, oh, it's fantastic, Sharon. It's an amazing card. I love it.
I'm crazy about that daggone deck.
Yeah.
And your other one, let me find it. Let me find it. Let's talk about this.
That really is the Fool, isn't it? It's like he doesn't know what he's walking into, right? It's, you know, he's just coming for a nice, pleasant walk to the graveyard to just put a nice wreath. He's got his little picnic on someone's tombstone, and he's about to be completely attacked by zombies. Look, they're all coming out. There's another one over there, just under the wreath. It's just like that. I just think it's so funny.
I would have to read this one as "Get the heck out of there."
He's totally oblivious to sort of what he's walking into. But it's like,
Yeah,
I think that's so funny.
that is
I mean,
funny.
there's not much more to say about it. It's quite obvious from the card, like what the situation is there, and he hasn't got a care in the world, or he has just got no. It's the obliviousness.
Yeah. Yeah, and this Fool, I would by no means see anything good happening out of this. Whereas
No.
in the Rider-Waite and the other Fools, I say, it's like that trust in the universe to take care of you. I guess I'd rather fall to my death than get eaten by zombies. I don't know,
Oh,
but there's nothing safe here.
oh my God, I can't do zombies, Sharon. Like we've got a theme park, Alton Towers. It's a sort of like small scale version of Disney World or whatever, and we go there. Well, we used to, up and didn't last year because of COVID, every Halloween, and they will have zombies sort of walking around, like, you know, and oh my God, I know they're actors. I could do the job myself, but they come right up to you, you know, right? I can't do it. I can't. Oh my God, it's awful.
Now you got to tell the story about the zombie that backed you into a wall.
Really? You really want me to tell that story?
Yes,
Yeah, right. So they have all these different attractions, right? And it depends on how scary the attraction is. They give it like 1 pumpkin, 2 pumpkins. It goes up to 6 pumpkins or something. And this was a 2 pumpkin attraction. And all it was is like you walked into this area and it had all this kind of smoke and stuff. And zombies would come at you, but it was only 2 pumpkins. So I thought I'll be all right. So I walked in, there was about 6 of us, we all went together. So I walked into this thing, and sure enough, out comes all the zombies, right? And they're all sort of like coming towards you, right? Yeah, right, and all this sort of stuff. And everybody else in my group just like laughed and whatever and walked off, and they left me there. And this zombie backs me right up to a wall, and I'm not joking, I'm petrified. I'm like literally terrified, right? So it got me right up to the wall, and I'm going, go away, and it actually said at the thing, don't touch the zombies and they won't touch you. And I knew that, and I knew they were actors, right? And then I had Velcro on my shoe, and the Velcro got stuck on the kind of like the leaf on the wall, like the decoration of the wall, and I could not pull my foot away. And this zombie literally leaned down, sorted out my shoe, looked up and went, this is a first. I mean, it was just, and I couldn't even see the funny side of it. Literally, that was exactly what, this is no exaggeration. This is a first. And as I pulled away, the whole blinky wall came down, right? And I went running straight off out the entrance. I couldn't carry on with the attraction. I had to meet everybody around the other side. I was absolutely, my heart was going. I mean, it was just like, I just can't do zombies.
Oh God, I need a tissue. I got tears. Oh. I love that story.
The Fool. It was the me. I saw 2 pumpkins. I thought, oh, this is not too much of a risk. Right, you know. Terrible.
Epic. So if you were
No,
in that graveyard,
I think he's being a complete. I won't go in any of the things. I will go back to the theme park, but I will not go on any of the attractions or anything. And I know where the zombies are going to be lurking, right? So I kind of like, well, I'll walk the long way round to avoid them and all that sort of thing now.
well, if we ever have a zombie invasion, I'll come to England and protect you.
Oh my God.
I'd
Now
probably be
they are my
screaming
2
with you.
fool cards. Forrest Gump and this one who really is a fool.
Yeah, he really is a fool.
In my opinion, he really is a fool.
And see, that's what I was talking about in the beginning, when there are people who see the fool
Yeah.
as a fool, as we see it in this artist's rendition of it. So as long as you're consistent with how you read, there is really and truly no wrong way, because that's how the universe is going to show you the situation.
Yeah, I think that the energy of the Fool as an archetype is an amazing thing. We've all got our stories of when we walked into something because we hadn't thought it through properly, and maybe it might have seemed like a bad idea at the time, but it might have led our lives in a direction that we needed to go on to get to where we are now.
I know I compared the pomegranate grove to the Ace of Wands because we just went for it with that fiery passion.
Yeah,
but doesn't it also be, if we had thought about what we did with that first festival, we really wouldn't have felt like we could handle it. What the hell are we doing here? That was a lot of work. And we had 3 weeks to do it. But we just walked into it like, yeah, we can do this. And we, by God, did. Yeah. So I think the pomegranate was the full situation on a pretty grand scale, but in that beautiful, naive, innocent way.
Yeah. Yeah, it was done in innocence and ignorance, and you know, sometimes you don't know what's hit you until you're in it, and then you've just got to go with it. So the first time I did the strawberry fair, I had no idea what was going to happen, but I was literally reading tarot from 10 in the morning until 11:30 at night. Yep. With no break. You know, you know this story, and it's like, oh my God. And it was just relentless. It was amazing. But I did it. I got through it. And I went back the next year, and I took someone with me the next year. And I was going to have 6 of us doing it last year. Yeah. You know? Yeah,
I was supposed to come this year.
So, I know.
I'll get there.
So, anyway, no, I think the Fool could teach us loads, like the kind of the understanding of that archetype.
I'd be a lot happier if everybody saw him the way we did, because he is so phenomenally beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't think that great things, great experiments, great creations can happen without him.
Is it a bit Buddhist, the kind of I don't know, the kind of the thinking behind that energy, that kind of, you know, you will never know unless you try. And
yeah, Buddhist or Zen, or, you know, what is that? You said it the other day. You said the words let go and let God. I think that really applies to the Fool.
Yes, because everybody does have a higher power. Mm-hmm. They do. And the Fool is obviously just instinctively puts faith in his higher power.
Yep. He would be a really good one to aspire to.
Yeah. Oh, to feel like that. Oh, to wake up every morning and think, oh, right, what's today going to bring? Wouldn't that be just amazing?
I have had more full moments with you than I think in my entire life. Like yesterday's full moment. I was like, no, I'm not going to ask this person to do this thing with me because they'll probably say no. And then I was like, what the hell? I'm going to ask him. And he said, sure, yeah, that sounds like fun. And I was like, I really like those full moments when I can get over my fear of rejection, over my fear of failure. And it's like, who cares? It's not going to be the end unless I
Exactly.
actually fall off a cliff. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
exactly.
keep landing on clouds or rainbows or using that dress to fly, and I am loving it. So thank you, Mandy.
Oh, and I really enjoyed talking about the Fool. I really immensely enjoyed it. So if anyone's got any kind of comments or their own Fool cards that you want us to see, or your own Fool interpretations or stories, please do sort of, leave your comments and subscribe, like, share, ring the bell, fly.
Fly. Yeah, take a leap of faith. We got your back.
See you at the magician.
Bye.
Listen to the whisper of the sea, to the whisper. Here at the pomegranate grove, discover the secrets of the major arcana.